NanoApostle is a dark sci-fi themed boss rush game with gorgeous pixel art, slick fast-paced gameplay and incredible sound design. Especially the soundtrack knows how to get you pumped up for action. You play as Anita, a young girl with amnesia that is trapped in this top secret facility where she is forced to battle against cybernetic experiments. Augmented with these lethal nanomachines, you actually have a chance against these bloodthirsty bosses, but each one of them requires a different strategy. And only with adaptation and determination will you be able to escape from this twisted nightmare. In between fights, you will also have some story-related cutscenes and some dialogue options between you and another girl called Wenny. These moments were a nice change of pace from all the action. And just trying to find my best build in the skill module while listening to this serene song was really relaxing. There are 6 boss fights with 2 phases in this game, and each one of them is just a spectacle from start to finish. While the last 2 bosses didn't take me as long as the other 4 bosses to defeat, I really enjoyed every single one of them. Even though there were definitely some really frustrating gimmicks. There is just no better feeling than overcoming these bosses. You feel incredibly satisfied when you finally are able to beat them after an hour or so. I wasn't the biggest fan of these brutal finishes though, but they were for sure very cathartic. I'm not going to explain every single boss fight, but I'm going to mention a few mechanics in this game that are useful during any fight. First off, you have the ability to parry or to deflect. I honestly felt the timing was sometimes a bit too forgiving, but that's totally fine. Parrying an attack or deflecting a projectile is really satisfying. And sometimes it's needed to reveal the weak spot of the boss. In this game, the weak spot is called the destruction point, and when you see this icon, you shouldn't hesitate to unleash your attacks. When you see these arrows popping up, you can also use your grappling hook to deal even more damage. And while you are going absolutely ballistic already, you can also use your gun to add an infected stack. And these infected stacks will trigger Absorb, which will heal yourself for a bit and also deals a decent amount of damage to the boss. My default strategy was to always add 3 infected stacks as soon as possible and trigger Absorb by spamming my light attacks when I saw an opening. This isn't always as easy as it sounds, because some bosses can recover very quickly, or they have a shield that you have to destroy first before you can deal damage to their actual health bar. You will also unlock some new skills or attacks after defeating a boss, and you can upgrade these attacks in your skill module, which is basically your skill tree that you can customize as often as you want. And you can earn ability points by completing specific challenges during a boss fight or by finishing challenge stages, like combat challenges or obstacle courses. One tip I would like to give you is to go for the module combination bonuses when you customize your skill module. I didn't even know these bonuses existed until I accidentally discovered one of them when I had enabled a few skills with the same class or qualities apparently. This made the rest of the game so much more easier, and that's why the last 2 boss fights only took me a couple of tries. Of course, I also got better at the game, and I started to understand how I could use some specific attacks to my advantage. But these bonuses were really noticeable during combat, so sometimes I just farmed some ability points just so I could unlock a specific skill that would give me more bonuses. There is sadly not that much replayability though. You can extend the time of your playthrough by completing every challenge and by earning every ability point, but that's it really. At the end I was able to find a build with 6 different bonuses, which was pretty cool, but I didn't manage to earn enough ability points to unlock every single skill or perk sadly. So in general, NanoApostle is a must play if you love high-octane action and challenging boss fights. Every single fight had me on the edge of my seat, and while I wouldn't have minded to see at least 2 more boss fights, I was pretty satisfied with these 6 bosses. I didn't enjoy each boss fight equally, but all of them were for sure a very awesome challenge that I won't forget soon. The same goes for all these mechanics, like the destruction points and the infected stacks this game introduces you to. It sometimes took me a bit of time to fully understand them, but mastering them and using them as tools to adapt to a boss's moveset was incredibly enjoyable. It took me 6 hours to finish this game with 23 out of the 33 achievements unlocked. And while the first 4 bosses took me each like an hour or more to defeat, I enjoyed this game immensely and I felt like a badass when I finished it. I did come across some bugs, but I also played an earlier version of this game, so chances are they have fixed these issues already. I wish there was a bit more replayability, but other than that I feel like this game is a hidden gem and should get a lot more attention. I highly recommend it if you don't easily shy away from a challenge and don't mind fighting the same opponent over and over again. Perfecting your playstyle is really needed to overcome these challenges, but believe me, it's really worth it in the end. So be ready to be implanted with these lethal nano machines and battle against merciless foes that will give you a run for your money, so you can finally escape from this twisted facility